This is Queued Up, where we amplify the voices of educators with the science, soul, and story shaping education.
Welcome to this show, Dr. Sonja. It's so nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about what your journey has been and what you currently do.
So I am a teacher of the blind and visually impaired and an orientation mobility specialist. I am also a parent of a child who's blind, who's now 33 years old. When he was young, there weren't a lot of teachers for him to have.
Yeah.
And I really wanted him to have the skills to be successful. And so I went back to school and became a teacher of the blind and visually impaired and orientation mobility specialist.
Okay.
I was a first and second grade teacher before that.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah, and as Brendan grew up, he became proficient in technology and orientation mobility and all the skills that he needed, Braille, and audio, so that he could be successful in school. Now he's at Georgia Tech getting his PhD.
Following in mom's footsteps, getting that doctorate degree, right?
Absolutely. And he developed a product called Audium, which makes digital maps accessible to blind people, and that's never been done before. Wow. So it's pretty amazing to see.
You should be proud as a mom.
I am a proud mom.
Yeah.
But he also is the one who said, Mom, there is such a need for kids like me out there, and there's not enough teachers. Why don't you start a company that, puts teachers of the blind and visually impaired into the schools and does that, contracts with the school districts, because so many school districts keep asking you to work for them, and there's not enough of you to go around.
Right.
So he helped me do that. I said, I have no idea how to run a company, but he says, I'll teach you how. So he did, and he got me in contact with all the people that helped me get started and start a corporation and be able to do that. And now we're 10 years old, and we're a national company. So
that's exciting.
Isn't that exciting?
Yes. So I love that the switcheroo that was done. You were a teacher, and you became an expert in teaching, individuals like your son, and then he turned around and taught
That's
you.
right.
I love that.
I always
But life's full circle.
He's the wind beneath my wings. Yeah.
That is great. So you've started your company and you work with school districts across the nation.
Yes.
And do you provide in-person people?
So we provide both hybrid, in-person, and we do teachers of the blind and visually impaired. And those are hybrid, so part remote, part in-person. We also do orientation mobility, that's in person. And we do interveners, that's one-on-one with deafblind students. And we do VI paraeducators and TBI assistants that can go in, like when the student is remote and needs a little bit of assistance, we can provide an assistant to help.
Okay.
So we do material production as well, Braille, large print, specialized materials for children with cerebral visual impairment, and tactile materials. So,
wow, that is a much needed service. We, the company I work for, we also are always looking for TVIs, orientation mobility, and you just can't find them. I mean,
I know it's very hard.
So few and far between.
I think unless it seems like people who go into the field usually have an association with someone who is blind or visually impaired that inspires them to do that. Like Brandon was the first blind person I'd ever met. And I didn't even know the field was available until I had my son.
Yeah.
So, that's a big thing. We always need more teachers of the blind and visually impaired,
Absolutely.
orientation mobility specialists, and interveners.
And I have never heard that term. Is that a standard term that goes across the industry? Okay.
So it's a one-on-one person that works to facilitate communication between the deaf-blind person and their environment.
Okay.
And the way they do that a lot of times through sign or haptic sign that's done in the hands. Whatever the student needs, that intervener then communicates with them constantly about what's going on around them.
Before we continue, this episode is sponsored by Q360 Workforce Solutions. If you're a leader listening, you already know the problem. Q360 helps districts get ahead of the staffing and support gaps. This isn't about looking good on paper, it's about keeping schools steady. All right, back to the conversation.
So how did your teaching skills, second grade teacher and then teacher of the visually impaired, how did those prepare you to become an owner of a company and do this nationwide?
They didn't. I had to get some more education.
That's when your son kicked in again. He's like,
Yes.
all right, this is what you need to know.
So my son had taken business classes and marketing classes, and he got me in touch with an organization called SCORE. SCORE is sponsored by the Small Business Administration, and they offer free services to coach people in how to build their businesses.
Okay.
So I was mentored through SCORE, and yeah, 10 years ago.
That is exciting. And you just took it off and went full force with it.
Yes.
What do you wish you knew then that you know now, starting your business?
You know, when you first start, you don't know what you don't know. And I made a lot of mistakes, especially one of the first people you want to hire is a bookkeeper or accountant.
Yes. It gets very convoluted very quickly.
I tried to do everything all myself in the beginning. Doesn't work.
Yeah.
You have to have that person. And then if you're hiring, you have to have a payroll company, so that can help you with how to get the pay right and the taxes and, all that kind
all
of
of
stuff.
that background stuff. Yeah.
So those were the two key things that we needed at first that I really didn't have a lot of experience with.
Yeah.
So
The other stuff came natural though, because you were already an educator. You already had been doing this with your
Yes.
son and other students. And
what's really cool is that we started out just word of mouth. Special ed directors talking to special ed directors and talking to special ed directors.
Yes.
And so that's how people started knowing about me, was they were finding out from other special ed directors, oh, she's really good when she works with students with visual impairments. You should contact her,
Yes.
So that's how I got my start, for my first 10 or 12 contracts.
yeah.
And then from there, it's been, we just started marketing. So
Just now started marketing 10 years and you're going strong. Yeah. That's not typical of a business. That's how you know you're in high demand. Do you have any words of advice for a parent who's just had a child and got a new diagnosis? What would you say to them?
I would say there are so many resources available right now. Take advantage of it. Get in touch with consumer organizations like the National Federation of the Blind or the American Council of the Blind. Get your children, go to their conferences, get your children around other children that are blind and visually impaired. Seek out the adults that are there that are good role models, that have jobs, that have careers,
Yeah.
not only for your child, but for yourself, so that you can see that it's not the end of the world that your child has this disability. I remember a blind woman that I'd called to, because I was calling around all these different organizations, because all I heard was, your child's blind, there's nothing you can do about it. So I was crying, and I was on the phone, and I was talking to this woman, and she's like, you need to get over it. Being blind is no different than being left-handed in a right-handed world. So
Wow.
she goes, just get him signed up for the services he needs and get him the tools he needs, and he's going to be successful and do things. And you know what? She was right.
So I'm sure that her words empowered you
They
in
did.
that moment.
Because I dusted off my tears and I said, okay, we can do this.
It is what it is, and let's make some moves.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and you obviously have made moves, but I mean, it's kind of cool to meet you now because your son is
33.
33, working on his doctorate
And married.
And so you've been through the journey, and you can help so many families and so many school districts and teachers and everybody. It's very inspiring to see that you saw that need and was like, you know what? My child's blind, and here we go.
That's right. You have to do the work to find out where those organizations are, how to, and they're so easy now when you just ask AI or you ask Google, and do
Just
search.
list out everything.
Yeah, and you can find all kinds of resources that way. And we're always here. Anybody, in fact, I get texts and emails from parents all over that say, "Hey, what about this? What about that? How is your son successful doing this or that? And what tools does he need? What scholarships are available?" So I'll just reply and answer them, and yeah.
That's great. Do you have anything else that you would like to share with me that I haven't known enough to ask about? Because, you don't know what you don't know. And this is a new area for me.
Oh, well, I think that for any parent who has a child with a disability, they go through that period of grief, But just letting them know that it's not the end of the world, especially if blindness is the only disability your child has. The sky's the limit for them, really, if they have
Sure.
the right tools and the right education. There are so many tools they need, like the assistive technology, the Braille, the large print, how to listen to audiobooks. My son listens to books at 500 words a minute, and his comprehension is amazing. So, there's so many skills that they can learn and develop that can make them extremely successful later on in life.
Thank you for sharing your story with us and your journey. And I really appreciate everything that you've been doing for the field. And I hope to learn more about your business in the future.
Yeah, we just want to make sure all kids with visual impairments get the services they need.
Yes. And we'll make sure that we post your website and all of your information so that parents will know where those resources are located.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Queued Up. Follow and subscribe to stay queued up for what's next.